to the Possibility Mom Live. There was 100% supposed to be music on that video, but I am your music. Welcome. If we are new to each other, my name is Lisa Canning. I am here. This is a show for moms who want to be great moms while pursuing their dreams at the same time. The idea for this show came out of just a longing in my heart of everything that's happened over the last year, where we've had to get creative with how we've connected with others, where we've had to get creative with how we do business, where I had a year of speaking engagements and I had to think about how can I still do what I love, connect with my audience, and encourage others to do the same. And so that is how the Possibility Mom Live was born. It is my hope that this is the kind of show that will give you a little bit of hope, a little bit of possibility, a practical nugget or two that you can take into the weekend. This is a show for working moms who are crawling back time to spend on themselves and with their families. This is a show for moms who are staying at home but want to pursue some kind of other interest, passion, side hustle on the side. This is a show for all moms who desire greater peace, greater interior freedom. And this is a show for all moms who want to have some fun. Who wants to have some fun on this Friday afternoon? Well, listen, first thing we're going to do to have some fun, if you've been in my world for a while, you know how much I love me a good contest. So, the Possibility Mom Live Selfie Challenge. I want to encourage you to take a selfie with me at any point in this broadcast and then post it wherever you want to using the hashtag #ThePossibilityMomLive. And show your face and show me and just snap that photo. And then I am going to draw every single week a little teeny tiny beauty counter gift for you. One of the things that I have found over the last year is the importance of self-care, even if it's only in a 1 minute, 1 minute incremental hit via a beautiful lipstick or some great skincare. And so every single week, I'm going to draw a few little beauty counter presents when you use the hashtag #ThePossibilityMomLive and post it on social media. I will draw those. So I'm gonna do it right now. Are you ready? Get out your phone. Are you ready? Take it out. Turn it on. I'm gonna smile, and I want you to take out your phone, do the whole selfie extender, and we are gonna take a picture in. Ready? Get the photo on. 3, 2, 1. All right. Do this. The Possibility Mom Live all day, every day. When the show is on, I'm going to be coming to you live from my home in Southwest Florida every Friday at noon, unless there's some kind of a holiday or some kind of other extra thing going on. But every Friday at noon, expect a little dose of possibility as well as some very special guests. So I want to answer your questions. I get all kinds of questions about how I do life with 8 children, how I've built a business while being able to be flexible at home, how I manage my mind in what is sometimes a lot of chaos. And so I want to encourage you throughout the stream to type your questions just right below wherever you're watching this, on YouTube or on Facebook. Just type your questions below, and we will tackle them towards the end of the stream. I think it's so important that we continue these conversations about modern motherhood, because where else do we talk about this stuff? When you go to school, where do you learn how to be a mom? When you get into the workforce, who teaches you how to get dinner on the table while coming home from work and managing all the things that you have to do? When you become a mom, who teaches you how to clean and how to cook and how to balance friendships and marriage and all the things? So I want to encourage you, any question, we are basically an open book over here. If you're familiar with my YouTube channel, you know that mental health, mental illness is really important to me. So whatever question you might have, just type it down below and we will tackle those questions. And so before we move any further, and I introduce some special guests who I'm so excited to share with you, a very short word from our very first sponsor. I feel so legitimate. A word from our sponsor. And the sponsor is me. I want to share with you an exciting thing that I am hosting, which is called Purpose Driven Productivity. This is a free workshop that I am hosting. I don't know if you've lost my audio. Have you lost my audio? Have you lost my audio? Am I here? Hold on. That I'm hosting, a free workshop that I'm hosting for moms who need more time. Let me know if that's you in the comments below. Do you need more time? Are you feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm still like no idea how to manage it in all of this coronavirus business? Do you feel like you don't know what to do with free time when you get it? Or do you feel guilt around how you use it, how you can't win? Because if you're doing something over here, you're missing out on your kids, or if you're with your kids, then you're missing out on other responsibilities, the never ending laundry, the never ending cleaning, the pile of dishes, whatever it is. If you are seeking some time management skills and would like to do it in a really fun, very quick way, I'm hosting a free workshop where it's a video series that's going to drop one video at a time into your inbox. All you have to do to grab this totally free resource, which is really my expertise of raising 8 kids and building a 6-figure business at the same time, all rolled into one. All you've got to do is just click the link below in the description to register. It's completely free. So just go on right down there before you get too excited about anything else and my special guests that are coming up. Go ahead and click that link and register completely free, and it starts next Monday. So the first segment of the Possibility Mom Live is something I like to call the featured Possibility Mom of the Week. And this week's featured Possibility Mom is a beautiful mom that I have come to love and know, named Yashi Carrington. Yashi is a mom of 1. She is a proud Trinidad and Tobago resident, and she came into my world as a coaching client through the Art of Being a Woman masterclass. And then as I got to know her, we got to really see where her passion lies, and that is in helping women with PCOS, how to help women who are going through what is a very challenging physical condition deal with their mindset, deal with their health, and do so in a positive way. She's doing incredible things. You can learn more about her in the link below this video. And I just want to share with you a snippet of an interview that I held in my recent Possibility Mom conference, where we were talking about the realities of being an entrepreneur, raising young children, juggling all the things. And she shared with me what was important to her in keeping going and staying motivated. And I want to share that video with you right now, as soon as I figure out how to do it. Hold on, I promise you it's here somewhere. Here it is. Alrighty. That's not it. You guys, when you host a live show for the first time and you don't really do a rehearsal, you kind of just gotta. This is progress over perfection. All right, here we go. Let's try that one more time. Let's hear.
See now that you can do anything you set your mind to do, but you need to set up your mind first, because that was really my struggle. I mean, I had the potential. I even think I knew I had the talent, but my mind, I just couldn't conquer the negative thoughts. And it was so strange because I would see somebody else going through a struggle, and I would have all the encouraging words to say to these people. And when it was time to talk to myself, it was the worst. It was the worst words that I would never say to anybody. So another thing I think you should do is to have some self-compassion. Yes, now you're having a period where it's a little bit of a struggle, and that's okay. But just remember that you're doing your best, and you don't have to be perfect. And I'm telling myself that at the same time, you don't have to be perfect. It really is progress over perfection. And now I heard this recently and I love it even more: momentum over perfection. So you really just need to first have some self-compassion, you know, acknowledge where you are, but visualize where you want to be. Like every day, think about it and then take these steps needed. Even if it's a small step, even if it means just taking like 15 minutes just to sit down and like have a moment to yourself, just little steps to get there, and you will. Like I believe that. I don't want to sound cliche or anything, because I was once thinking, you know, people would always say you can do it, and it sounded so like, yeah, but how? But now I just really believe that anybody could have their dreams. Whatever that version of your dream is, you can have it. You just need to believe it first.
And that is my first featured possibility mom, Yashi Carrington, doing amazing things and continuing to be an example of how progress needs to win and momentum needs to win. And here's the interesting thing I just want to pause on and talk about when it comes to progress over perfection, as you saw me fumble through my own technology here. Imagine we all gave up as soon as something went wrong. Imagine we just sort of said, you know what, like, that's way too hard. And we just sort of called it quits. Imagine what would happen if we turned that paradigm on its head. And instead of saying, this is hard, we could have the mental tenacity to say, I'm a beginner. I'm a millionaire in the making. I can do hard things. And so I'm excited to tell the stories of moms who are in all kinds of stages, all kinds of places, who are doing incredible things and really demonstrating the possibility mom ethos of not willing to give up. I've got a really special guest coming on in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I want to share with you something that caught my attention in the news. This video kept coming up again and again and again in my Instagram, on my Facebook, on YouTube. This ad was everywhere. And I really think it bears a little bit of attention and a very short discussion. So we're going to queue up this video now and we're going to talk about it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Can you be an athlete? You, pregnant. You, a mother. That depends. What is an athlete? Someone who moves? Sounds like you. Someone who gets it done, no matter what. You do that. Someone who listens to her body. Also you. Someone who defies gravity. You. Someone who deals with the pain, hits her limit, and pushes past it. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Someone who earns every single win. You. So, can you be an athlete? If you aren't, no one is.
This ad, think whatever you want about Nike, who created that ad, which, by the way, they created it during the pandemic, all via Zoom. Talk about possibility mom thinking. Like, that's incredible. During the pandemic, all via Zoom, they shot and produced that video. And as you can see, like, when I watched it the first time, I wept, like openly wept. I'm recalling the emotions and it's making me emotional. Because again, of possibility and potential and how to not give up when it's hard. I just think too often, and it's by no fault of our own, because you really don't know what your limit is until you push up against it. But it's in those moments when we have hit, an upper limit, as I love quoting that book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. When we have hit an upper limit, we have a choice. We can say, you know what, this is too much, and we can kind of turn around and go home. Or like what is demonstrated in this Nike ad and demonstrated with like artistry and music and all the things, And obviously they're highlighting athletes, but this goes so much beyond athleticism and is so much about unlocking our potential. And it's that choice that we make when we're hitting that upper limit and we're saying to ourselves, you know what, this is too hard. I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to go eat Doritos in my pantry. But it's in that moment when, we're reaching for the Doritos and we're saying, you know what? Not now. Not today. Today, I'm going to take one teeny tiny step beyond that upper limit. Today, I'm going to do one small thing that is going to move me closer to that goal. Because at the end of the day, that is all goals are. Big dreams, small dreams, cleaning up your house, working on a book, making $1 million, whatever it is, it's all small incremental movements. And you can do it. So let me ask you right now, what's one thing you want to take one very small step on today, this beautiful Friday afternoon going into your weekend? What is one small thing? What is one small action that you know you can do that's going to move you closer towards a goal? Go ahead and write it in the comments below. I am now so excited to welcome to the very first Possibility Mom Live a beautiful woman who inspires me every day, a beautiful woman who has put new words in my vocabulary that I find now I use all the time, and a woman who has for many, many, many years of her life, caring for a daughter with extreme special needs, carrying her family through that experience, has pushed against her upper limit and moved on to the other side. And that's what I find so inspiring about my next guest, my very first guest on the Possibility Mom, Mary Lenaburg. Mary Lenaburg is a best-selling author, a speaker. She's a fellow strategist in the Women's School. And she is the beautiful author of the brand new book, Be Bold in the Broken. And I'm so excited to welcome to the Possibility Mom Live, Mary Lenaburg. Let's do this. Can I do this? I might need some help to do this. Josh, can you do this? Somebody welcome. Mary Lenaburg is here. Oh my goodness. Can I hear you? I can. Praise.
Can you hear me? I hope so. Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Also, can you we are color coordinated.
We are, and we didn't even have a conversation or anything.
Oh, Mary Lenaburg, for anyone who might not be familiar with you and your story, can you just share with us a few tidbits about who you are?
Sure. So first off, I am so incredibly excited and honored to be your first guest. I mean, it's just like when you asked me, I was like, are you sure? Because, I can give you a list. But thank you so much for sharing this beautiful day with me. I so appreciate it. But I am a wife of 32 years to my husband, Jerry. I was given 4 souls to love, and 2 I didn't get to hold here, but 2 I did. And my son, Jonathan, is 31, and he is newly engaged and getting to be married in October. Very excited. I never thought that was a miracle of God. Never thought that was going to happen. Took a pandemic and a unicorn, but we got it done. And our daughter Courtney was 22 when she went home to the Lord. And she's been home now for 6 years. And so in that 6 years, God has called me out of my home for the first time in 25 years of parenting at that point to speak and write and encourage other women to live brave and bold lives. So we can do hard things and we can do them really, really well when we do them hand in hand with God. So that's a little bit about me.
So we got to know each other because you joined me in a small group that I facilitate using the Art of Being a Woman masterclass run through the Women's School. And I remember being like, Mary Lenaburg is going to be in my group. We have a mutual love for each other, mutual fangirl of each other. But I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like I get to learn from Mary Lenaburg because I was familiar with your work, but prior, but of course got very familiar with you while being in a group. And what I have learned about you is what I shared before you came on, is that you have the ability to do hard things, but do them with grace.
Mm.
And I imagine, obviously, that was obviously lived out through experience, obviously part of our Catholic faith and understanding that you are not alone in the struggle and that the suffering is not, for nothing. But how did you turn that all into a book? So this is your second book. Your first book is a beautiful, but they're both must reads. They're both must reads. But how did you turn all of this in a book? How did you take the many years of experience that you had caring for your beautiful daughter, the grief of loss, the things that happened after that? What was it like to go through that all for yourself, but then turn that into something that you could share with others in a cogent and cohesive manner? Share with us a little bit about that experience.
Well, my first book, Be Brave and the Scared, really is my journey as a wife and a mother of Courtney, and what being a parent and a caregiver showed me about myself and my weaknesses, what it revealed within my marriage. And so Courtney is kind of like, her story is like an underlining thread through Be Brave and the Scared, which is my first book. This book, Be Bold and the Broken, that just released last week, that is my story. It's my story of how I found my voice. Courtney, of course, is in there. She was part of that process, but it's really just stories from my youth and from my young adulthood, and even more currently, on how I tried to be someone that I wasn't. I tried to put on I used dressing room kind of as my metaphor. I tried on all these different dresses and they weren't the right ones. I tried on different swimsuits. They weren't the right ones. I tried on different jeans. They weren't the right ones. I am Mary Lenaburg. I am made in the image and likeness of God. I am unique and unrepeatable. My voice is going to sound different than your voice. My words are going to be different than you, but we are equal in the sight of God. And therefore, when you and I, we are both strategists for the women's school. We do not strategize in the same way. We bring our own unique voices and experiences to work with the women that God, I believe, has placed in front of us. I came to you because of your joy, because of your effervescent love of encouragement and of women, and you are a champion of women and women of all ages and stages. You and I are separated by a few decades, and I don't have 8 children. I am one of 8, so I can identify with that. I grew up in a house like yours, but that's why I came to learn. And so with these 2 books, they are the lessons that I have learned in my life. They're the lessons that Courtney taught me about how to love with your whole life. They're the lessons that I learned from my husband, from our community, on how to meet each other where we are without judgment, and how to accompany one another through really hard things. And so if you were to look at the 2 books together, I think Be Bold and the Broken is kind of a prequel to Be Brave and the Scared. Be Brave and the Scared is a very deep dive into addiction, into hard things. Be Bold and the Broken is a little bit lighter, a little bit funnier, but it's just a story of how I learned to find my voice. I am a woman who encourages others. That is my gifting. I hold a key. I am a key holder. And that is a person that unlocks the hard things with other people and then walks with them in compassion and accompaniment. But I also hold their feet to the fire, and I challenge them to overcome that upper limit that you were talking about, to hit that upper limit, to know that's you can work through it. We can work through it together. So I learned all of that being a wife, being a mom of 2 very different people. Jonathan is on the genius spectrum. Like, he is a certified genius. It's annoying, but he's beautiful, awesome man, but he had very different needs than Courtney, who was in a wheelchair, couldn't speak and couldn't walk and was blind. And then there's Jerry in the middle, and he had different, needs of me as a wife as well. So it's the gift of 53 years of living, to go back and say, look at all that I've lived through, that I haven't just survived my life, but I have thrived in my life. And I didn't really know it until now, when I can look back and go, oh, wow, look at that. I did that hard thing. This hard thing I'm facing today, I can do that too.
If you are just joining me, I am joined by the beautiful Mary Lenaburg, author of the brand new book, Be Bold in the Broken. So I found the metaphor of the change room really interesting. I have a fashion communications degree. That was my undergrad, was all in fashion. I thought I was going to work a very like Devil Wears Prada kind of life. And then I got a taste of it working at a magazine. And I was like, get me the heck out of here. It's like, this is unsustainable. That movie is not inaccurate, like in terms of the work and the just anyway. So but I find this a very interesting analogy because, you know, you can try on a bright color. If you don't like it, you can change it. So for anyone listening who might be asking the question, like, but how do I find the right color? How do I find the right outfit? The phrase that I now have forever permanently etched in my brain is you are unrepeatable. And that's because of you. You said you would say that every week, encouraging the women in our mastermind. And I hear you say it all the time. And it is not a phrase to take lightly.
No.
You are unrepeatable has many, you know, for those of you who have a Catholic background like you and I do, there's deep theology in that. There's deep philosophy in that. There's all kinds of things in this phrase, you are unrepeatable. But I think it's a very important one to have at the forefront of our minds and remember when we are having those moments of doubt, when we are feeling like there's no way I could do this, or the feelings of who am I to do this? You know, who am I to, you know, do blank, run a marathon, write a book, host a live show, whatever it is. So how does one, if anyone's watching this and they're thinking, I want to find myself, I want to live this authentic life, I want to feel confident in the fact that I am unrepeatable, where do they begin?
I think you begin with an honest assessment of where you are, of what you think you are, and who you think you are. I had to take a really hard look in the mirror, literally, and take a deep look into who I thought I was. And because I'm a woman of faith, I don't know how you live this life without faith, but I'm a woman of faith. So then I had to learn how to look at myself as God looks at me. Right. And that was a great disparagement between the two. You know, I'm a dyslexic. You want me to write a book? Are you insane? That's not possible. You know, I can't spell, let alone have proper grammar. But what I was gifted with was the ability to tell a story and to draw you into a story. And so God gave me an awesome husband who stood by me and said, you just walk and pace the living room, tell your story, and we'll type it out. And that's how both of my books were written. You know, I just told a story and then we fixed it, right? So I had to take a look at what my skill was and what I could and couldn't do. And then I had to come to the end of myself. Like, we are so self-sufficient as women. We're like, I can do this. You can do this. I can do this. And then we come to this place where we're like, I can't do this. Like, I don't have the skill for this. I don't have the knowledge for this. I don't have the patience for this. I don't have whatever. And that's where the Holy Spirit steps in and says, are you ready? Like, because I'm here to help. Like, are you going to accept? And so where does a woman start? They start with an honest assessment of the skills they have and how they're looking at themselves. God delights in us. He loves us. He created us in his image and likeness. There's never going to be another me. And he delights in me. And he delights in you. And he has given each of us a very specific purpose and mission that only we can accomplish. I can't do your mission. You can't do my mission. And if we don't do our mission, nobody else does it. It's just ours. So we start with that assessment. And then at that point, you have to ask yourself a question. Is it true? Because if your assessment looked anything like mine, you're seeing 95% in the negative qualities and maybe 2% in the positive qualities that your mom told you, you know, over and over and over since you were a little girl. And maybe there's 2 things on the list. And I had to ask myself the question, God, is it true? Is that stuff true? Because if he is who he says he is, then I got to believe him. Right? And I have to receive what he has for me. And so that's where I started. And he just began to tick the things off the list. It is not true that you are not smart. That's not true. You are smart. Your smarts look different than Jerry's smarts or Jonathan's smarts. But you've got them. And you've got them in a unique and unrepeatable way. It's okay that you're a plus size woman. Your body tells the story of your life. Your body tells a story of your addiction. Your body tells a story of healing, of wholeness, of purpose, of giving life. Okay, is it where you want it to be? No, but we're going to work on that. It's a beautiful body and it has served you well, right? Am I capable of doing all these things I believe he's asking me to do? No, I'm not. I don't have all the skill sets. But just like your beautiful intro, where you sat there and you were like, it's a live show, we're going to do this, and you didn't quit and you didn't give up and you laughed and you brought joy, and everybody is drawn into your story because they're like, she did it. It wasn't perfect. Let's do this because I'm being called to do this. I had to figure out who I was and what I was made to do. And I am strong. I am brash. I am bold. I am tenacious. I am funny. I am a woman who has the door open and a seat at the table every single day. And I lead with empathy and with compassion because everybody's fighting a war. And that's what he has me doing, not only in my personal life, but in my professional life. So you just got to start with an honest look at yourself and then ask the question, is it true? Because I'll tell you, most of that, what you're telling yourself right now is not true.
You know, you said something really interesting about there's always a seat at the table. And this is something I observe about you. You have friends of all kinds. You have friends that are younger than you. You have friends that are older than you. Like, I see you interact with friends of all kinds. And I think it's so important when we are asking ourselves these questions, like, is it true, that we can have select, like very select and very select people who can help us remind ourselves when we're telling ourselves like it's not true, or no, I really am like a broken mess, or there's no way I could do that. How do you, I've always been curious to ask you this, how do you cultivate these friends of all ages, of all backgrounds, where there's always a seat at the table? How do you do that so that it is consistent, like intentional? Do you have like a calendar? Like, how do you ensure that you are maintaining these friendships that really fill you and allow you to fill them?
Well, it's interesting because I'm Roman Catholic, so you would think that most of my friends would be similar to me. I have friends of all faith backgrounds. I have friends who are straight, who are gay, who are all the things in between. They don't believe as I believe. And people ask me that question all the time. Like, Mary, how can you leave your door open to people that don't live the same life you do? And I keep coming back to this place of, what did Jesus do? He opened his door, right? He wasn't going to leave you sitting on a corner. He was going to greet you there. Think of the man that sat on the mat for years. He sat on this mat. And he finally, Jesus came to town and he reached out and he said, and Jesus says, what do you want? And he goes, I want to be healed. And he goes, then get up and go because you've been healed, right? We put ourselves in a box. We put God in a box. And therefore we put our humanness on him, and we don't give ourselves the capacity to love somebody in the journey that they're in. So how do I do it? Well, I'm not the best time manager, as you well know, having been my strategist, and the person that walked with me. I don't manage my time particularly well. I'm working on that. But what I am is available and flexible. So like yesterday was a beautiful day. My sister-in-law, my sweet sister-in-law, Ruby, her mother passed away on Sunday unexpectedly. And so the funeral was yesterday, and she's Sikh. She's not Christian. And so it's a long thing, it's not like I'm used to, but I went and I was there and I was present for her to support her, right? Was it in my schedule? Is it what I wanted to do? Of course not. But the most important thing was for her to know that she had somebody with her, that somebody was standing beside her saying, I see your brokenness, I see your hurt, I see your grief, I love you in it, and I'm here for you, right? And you just translate that into every single conversation. I was able to have a conversation the other day with a mom her daughter's in the NICU, and I hadn't seen her for several months, and she called me up and she said, I've got an hour. Do you have an hour? Yes, I have an hour. And you're able to pour into that 1 hour, and you both walk away knowing you've done what God has asked you to do. Do I do it perfectly? No, I don't do it perfectly. Am I sometimes rather bold in what I say to individuals and how they're living their life and how God has asked me to live mine. Yes, but you know what I do? I do it in love, and I do it within relationship. I'm not calling them out on social media. I'm not calling them out at church. I'm not calling them out in the cul-de-sac. I'm asking, can I have a conversation with you because I'm concerned? And then I walk with them in that process. You never abandon somebody when they're hurting. You never abandon them when they're weak and they're struggling with whatever it is that's hard for them. That's when you step in and say, okay, God, I don't have the capacity to do this, but you do. I'm not the person that's healing here. You are. So can you walk with me as I walk with them and give me the words necessary? It's just about being open. It's about being flexible. And when the flip side of that happens, when you get the pushback, when you get the negativity, when you get the direct messages that are not kind, you literally, what I say is, bless them, change me. Bless them, Lord, and change me.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something that triggered them in what I said and what I did. And maybe that's something I can do better in the future with.
Mary Lenaburg, you inspire me every single day. You help me remind me that I am unreputable. And everybody, you got to go and pick up Be Bold in the Broken. Go order it on Amazon. Go order it wherever you love to buy books. Be Bold in the Broken will encourage you, will entertain you, and will give you the hope that we all need. Mary, thank you for being my first guest on the Possibility
Water. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see
excited.
where the Lord takes this. It's going to be amazing.
Oh my word.
Love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mwah. You know what? I love that woman. And the thing out of that conversation that I want to reflect back here and just take a pause on is the importance of friendship, right? You know, I've made a lot of friends in the last year in the space of personal development, fellow coaches, you know, people who prior to COVID were also speaking on stages and whatnot. And it's been an interesting experience forming new friends, the habit of staying in touch with people. I think that's another thing we've all learned, how to stay in touch with people in sort of unique circumstances like we still are. But how also to embrace a spirit of collaboration over competition. And I think that's such an important concept that bears repeating. What does it look like to collaborate over compete? And, you know, like this is something that has had to, I've had to do a lot of work on. You know, I when I was younger, just to be very transparent, I would be very fussed about what my house looked like because I felt like, well, my house has got to look good because so-and-so's house looks like that and so-and-so's house. And then of course, as I got older as a mom, it became about like, how well can I cook a meal? How well can, you know, my kids behave in front of other people? And it's a very, very dangerous thing. We have to very, very much pay attention to this concept of, am I competing? Am I competing with other women? Or can I have a spirit of collaboration where we all win? And the beautiful thing when we all win is that we can have authentic friendships. We can have authentic interactions with people where we genuinely wish the best for them. We can be generous. Imagine a world where we were all generous, like extremely generous, where we can be generous without counting the cost of it, you know? And that's one thing about Mary that I find very inspiring. She is very generous with her time, with her talents. And it's a real gift to walk with her now as a fellow strategist in the women's school. Another thing that we walk together on that is just a bit of a coincidence that leads me into my next segment is stuff I like. And stuff I like today is this lipstick. So as I mentioned, self-care during a global pandemic and homeschooling kids and all the things became of utmost importance to me. And I had to learn, what does that look like when you don't have a lot of time? And as I shared at the top of this show with my purpose-driven productivity free workshop happening next week, sometimes self-care has to fit into tiny little blocks of time that we have to strategize. And so for me, one big way that I strategize is with these little teeny tiny tubes that provide just a super fun little lift. So the lipstick that I'm wearing today is Beauty Counter's Girls Night. It's like this really pretty ready, it's red. It's so fun. And what I love about Beauty Counter is that it's all clean. So this particular one, I actually do not know the ingredient that's in it, but there's definitely some kind of essential oil in it that has a little bit of a peppermint, like there must be a little bit of a mint. All of their products are safe to use. I don't have the stat at hand, but the amount of chemicals that we eat because of lipstick is astounding. I remember learning it once and being quite shocked at how many terrible chemicals were literally being consumed by women as a result of lipstick. Whereas when you go with something that is clean, made out of clean ingredients, but performs just as good, what a bonus it is. So this color that I'm wearing today is the Girls Night. It's the Beauty Counter Color Intense Lipstick, and you can shop this lipstick and more by visiting the link right below this video to shop Beauty Counter with me. So what I'd love to do now is pause for some Q&A. I would love to hear your questions about anything at all. Work-life balance, pursuing a dream, how to be brave when you feel broken, and perhaps around, if you have any questions around how to move forward even when it's hard. I think this is the thing with my unique story of 8 kids and running a business, being married to my incredible husband. But if you know our story there's also a lot of challenge in our story where mental illness came like a Mack truck about halfway through, and what it was like to navigate that and all the things. And so just want to pause and welcome any questions and any questions you might have for me. I'm going to bring a couple of them right up here on the screen right now. So Hannah says, I'm a mother of 2 and full-time working in a school district. I have gone back to study again what I'm passionate about to get my career started. It is something scary and exciting because I'm trying a lot of time management, and I'm really looking for more encouragement so I can fully do what I love to do and raise a family. Hannah, this is amazing. I want to encourage you when it looks difficult. So when you've got like a baby on your hip who's crying, when the dinner is burning, when the house has not been picked up, and all you're thinking about is I have 4 hours of homework ahead of me and no one has clean clothes to wear tomorrow. The single most important thing you can do in that moment, okay, is to take a deep breath and say, what would be helpful right now? To me, that is such a simple pivot. What would be helpful? So when I start to spiral, when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not prepared for the show. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to work the music. I don't know how to do this. Da, 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 da. I pause, and it's very similar to the question Mary asked, like, is this true? Just a slight sort of modification or a slight different nuance. I ask myself, is this helpful? And when we spiral, what happens? When we spiral, we get angry. There's cortisol. Our reticular activator, the part of our brain that literally looks for patterns, all it's going to do is look for more of what we give it. And we feel terrible. So I just want to encourage you that one of the most important things you can do at that moment is ask yourself the question, what would be helpful right now? That will force your brain to look for possibilities. That will force your brain to start thinking, rather, this is terrible, that, oh, there are options, and then move forward from there. What else is here? I love, Cora, that you're going to pack a box. I love it. Pack a box this weekend. And don't forget that moving is literally just one box at a time. Lori, I'm excited that you are going to declutter a room. That's another one that's like an immediate quick win. I love that when you clean, it's just like a dopamine hit, like such a dopamine hit. So amazing. I'm excited for you to declutter your room. And I for myself, when I think about taking small steps towards a big action. I really also like to think of how can I be grateful for how much progress I have made, as opposed to how much I'm not yet there. There's this really great quote that I wish I knew who to attribute to, but I think we'll close the show here with this quote. To measure the gain and not the gap. Because when we measure the gain, again, our reticular activator is looking for more of that. But when we measure the gap, we kind of just are prone to more frustration, more sadness, more eating Doritos in the pantry, more ice cream, more Netflix and wine in bed, that kind of thing, without doing the things that we know will move the needle forward where we want to go. My friends, I'm so excited. That is the very first Possibility Mom Live. I cannot believe that this just happened. This has been a dream in my heart. I could cry just talking about how excited I am that this has happened, that you are here with me. Thank you for being here with me. And if you have a friend in your life that you know would appreciate this show, please feel free to tag them below wherever you are watching. Send them the link to this show that they can watch on repeat. And a reminder, hashtag the Possibility Mom Live. I will be giving away lipsticks of your choice to a few very special women that I will contact via DM. So just use this hashtag, use it well. Tag me on Instagram at Lisa Canning when you do it, or tag me at Lisa Canning, the Possibility Mom on Facebook, so I can ensure that I will see it. And I would love to treat you with a little bit of self-care and a little bit of healthy, clean beauty. And don't forget to join me next week for my purpose-driven productivity time management workshop. If you have heard things in today's interview that have challenged you, that have excited you, but you have no idea how you will fit them in to a busy schedule, I want to encourage you to join me by clicking the link right below this video. And finally, I'm excited to bring to the Possibility Mom Live my mindset coach, Erin Ingold. Erin Ingold is co-founder with her husband, Matt, of Metanoia Catholic. Do you see how well worn my journal is? This is the Metanoia Catholic Journal, and she is going to be sharing her insights on the importance of managing our minds and paying attention to the stories that we tell ourselves. My friends, thank you so much for watching, and cheers to the first ever Possibility Mom Live. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.